Yay, technology. I am hoping that y'all can hear me. I apologize. We went live about 7 minutes ago, and I was hearing from Isabel and from Carrie that the sound was not working. It might possibly have something to do with the fact that my headset was not plugged in. Just guessing. But I'm sorry about that. I'm hoping that you're able to see me now and that it's fairly obvious what's going on. But of course, I won't really know that unless you tell me. So if you are watching, I would love for you to tell me if you can hear me. Okay, so we shall go forth. Anyhow, this is perfect actually because today's theme was winning ugly, and I was sharing earlier with those of you in the Map Your Progress tribe who receive emails from me that this whole week has been like one wonderful, messy experiment and demonstration in what it looks like to win ugly and to show up imperfectly and stumbling through and having technical glitches and all of that. But if you can hear me, if you could make a comment and let me know, that would be fantastic. Because if you can't hear me, then we're going to start again in a different one. So, yay! Oh my gosh. What? So good. So good. Okay. I love that you guys are here. Thanks for being with me and joining me for the hot mess that sometimes happens. This is progress. This is what it looks like. This is what happens when we just decide to go for things and create a series of 5 chats and here we are. So, oh, Ariane, yay! Yay, so glad that I can hear you all and see you all. Okay, isn't this fun? Okay, you know what's great? I feel like when things like this happen, when technology does not go well, when things don't save, when you start a Facebook Live and then no one can hear you and you have to start again, it just means that there's something better in me. There's a better version. So yay for that. We are going to now dive back into what we're here to chat for today. And I get very fired up about this topic. It's something that I see often when I am listening to you all talking about your goals, things that you most want. And certainly that's a conversation that comes up a lot because I am a progress coach and I sell progress maps, which are visuals that help people break down what it is that they really want and then be able to take their next right steps and go after that. Oh, Carrie, hey, yay. Hi, so good to see you. So this is like a conversation that I'm having on a daily basis, right? And what I'm struck by is that oftentimes I think we just get kind of settled into expectations about what kind of goals we should go after. And it gets oversimplified. And we end up talking about things just like paying off debt or losing weight or, something like fitness related, creating new habits, like wanting to adult well in some way. And it's not that there's anything inherently wrong with wanting to adult well. It's just that my wish for you is not that you do what you're supposed to do to just reach goals for the sake of reaching them. I really want you to be able to come alive in this process of going after something that really matters to you. Because when you do that and you start to practice these next right steps, you build your courage muscles by doing brave things and stepping into what scares you. It's who you get to become in that process that's really amazing and powerful. And that's who you really are. And we don't discover that about ourselves unless we actually have the courage to start walking toward it. And we do that literally one next right step at a time. So I wanted to talk about this more today because my hope for you is that in being part of this chat and this conversation, and by all means, hopefully I can still continue to see your comments. So please ask questions as you have them. But my hope is that in you being there, you'll be able to be inspired or connect some dots or see how you might be able to be more fully yourself and not be holding back so much or hiding out. Because I think it was about 2 years ago now, I remember writing a letter to myself on January 1st, 2014, I think it was. And I just decided that I had enough of trying to talk myself out of who I really was. And I declared that up until that point, like everything I'd been through in my life was enough. And everything that I'd learned was enough. Like I had enough of what I needed to be able to move forward and to go build what it was that I wanted to build and be the person that I wanted to be, instead of continuing to delay that or talk myself out of it or say that that was going to happen sometime in the future. Because I started to feel this sense like, no, I don't know how much time I have. So I want to make the most of my time and energy. And so in that process of declaring my enoughness, I realized in writing to myself, which I highly recommend that you do, that I didn't need to protect anyone from me. No one needs to be protected from me and my creativity, my ideas, my heart. And a long time ago, for whatever reason, I had decided that I needed to protect myself and protect others. And I think one of the earliest memories that I have of perhaps where this started was when I was perhaps about 5 or 6 years old. And I can remember being in kindergarten and we were doing some sort of art project. And I remember the kid that was sitting next to me looked at whatever it was that I was creating and said, "Oh, yours is like the teacher's." And what I felt, how I interpreted that comment, was kind of this conflict of feeling pride in that he was implying that yours looks better than mine. Yours looks better than the rest of us. It looks like the teachers. That I felt like great having, this talent recognized. And then I also felt shitty and I felt guilty and I felt a bit ashamed. Like I didn't want somebody looking at something that I had created and feeling badly about themselves or feeling like there was something not right about what they were doing. And God bless my sweet little 5-year-old heart, but this was a logic that I really internalized, and it just kept getting kind of underscored once I got that idea in my head. As I would start to grow and be pursuing things and achieving things, I continued to have that conflict where it's like I had these talents, I had these passions, I had these abilities, and I wanted to give them, showing up at my full power and my little brilliance. And I also didn't want that to hurt anyone. I didn't want there to be a cost for someone else because I wanted people to feel good from having been around me or to feel supported and encouraged and cheered. And so the more that I was achieving and getting recognized or winning awards, I would really try and manage other people's emotions. Ariane, oh, you said something. You said, "Ooh, this is so fruitful, trying to protect others by not shining in our full glory." Such excellent food for thought. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you saying that because I know that I'm not alone in this. And I know this is something that comes up for those of us that are wanting to be out there achieving in the world and pursuing things. And, it's like, again, we only have so much time on the planet. What are you going to do with it? It's Wednesday. What are you doing with Wednesday? What choices are you making to, feed your own soul and creativity and to come alive in service of others? So, Isabel. Oh, I love that you guys are commenting. Okay, so Isabel, you're saying, yes, I have felt that when I do a good piece of writing at work, especially if other people haven't completed their work yet. Yes. So you're saying, so I try to diminish mine somewhat. Oh my God, yes. Okay, this is the dilemma if you are a talented, highly capable person who also has a big heart. And you want other people to be empowered and to do well. And the irony is that in our attempts to do that, we end up disempowering ourselves. And it doesn't serve anyone. So I think these things, start when we're young and then build over the years and start to manifest themselves in many ways. And what happens, I think, is that we're given these talents, we're given these passions for particular things. We may not understand why. It may seem weird. It may seem disjointed. And yet there are things that in our own minds, we keep coming back to, or we daydream about. We have these ideas, well, I wish I could do. And then, we tend to talk ourselves out. So we're holding back these things. Like Map Your Progress is a really great example of this. I can remember me to start this business and sell the progress maps, like I really didn't understand that. I did not, like, why would anybody want to buy my stuff? Why would anybody think my art is worth purchasing or like using? Like, this didn't make sense to me because I'd gotten so in the habit of diminishing my own art, which I'd given up in high school because I decided it wasn't good enough anymore. There were like two other people who I thought were better than me. And so it's like this game of comparison that we get into. The comparison doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter. Whatever's in your head, whatever's in your heart, your passion, your creativity, the thing that you want to give, that's there. That's to be honored. It has nothing to do with anyone else. And it is not here to cost anyone else anything. It's here to contribute to other people. It's just that our clever brain likes to kind of distort and come up with these logics. We kind of create the story, create the logic, create the structure that essentially is a box of sorts that, you know, keeps us small, keeps us limited, keeps us doing what it is that we've been doing, staying where we are, not moving. Because as far as your clever brain is concerned, that is safer. And so when we start to look at sharing more of ourselves or pursuing our ideas or what it is that we want to contribute, the clever brain response is, of course, to discourage that. That's where self-doubt comes up. That's where fear comes in, and the resistance, the questioning, and the thinking that we have to be more qualified, thinking that somebody else could do it better, thinking that the time isn't right, thinking that we need to know more, that we need to learn, that we need, like, all kinds of stuff. Clever brain is relentless at coming up with all of these different angles, the sum total of which is that you don't move forward. The result is that you stay where you are, you continue going through the motions, you're, you know, like living for the weekend, like that kind of stuff. And the sad part is that there are so many people that want what you have to give. And this has been my discovery. I mean, just the fact that we're having this conversation, that you all are here with me, like, blows my mind, right? Because I can vividly remember, this is probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. And I was reading Martha Beck's the Wayfinder book that has this wonderful long title that I cannot remember for the life of me. And so she was talking about how you were looking for your passions and the things that you would love to do. You know, like they say, if you didn't get paid or if you didn't have any responsibility and you could just spend your time doing what you want, what is it that you would do? And what I really loved doing was reading all these different self-improvement books and talking about them. And I like fantasized about having a self-improvement book club, and I'm like, who would come? Because, you know, who would come? Like, that was not something that the people around me necessarily were super into. And that didn't make sense to me. Like, how could I make a living out of that? And then Clever Brain loves that one. Like, if you can't make a living out of it, then it's not worth pursuing, which is utter bullshit. But, you know, these were the kinds of thoughts that were going through my mind. So here I am through this adventure, through this process, finding out that none of that was in vain. All of that was very much pertinent to how I serve others. And now I'm a progress coach and I coach people all over the world. Like, it's amazing, right? So God bless technology and the internet, because you have the ability to connect and inspire and contribute to the people who want what it is that you have to give. We're actually going to be talking about that tomorrow chat, where we're going to like dive deep into that. But for today, we're going back to this holding back and hiding out. So, okay, why we do it? So we've kind of talked about that, like where it's, you know, it's more comfortable, it's less risky. Clever Brain loves that logic that if we start to, you know, show more of who we really are, if we start to speak up, if we start to tell our truth, share our ideas, that, you know, bad things will happen, that we'll be punished for it somehow, people will get hurt, we might lose something. And again, none of this is really true. It's just customized by your clever brain to stop you. And clever brain constructs these wonderful, like, intricate labyrinths of thought in your own head that will keep you hitting walls and keep you getting stuck. Okay? There's really not more to it other than it stops you. And this was something that I didn't understand for a long time, that the fear that you have, the things that scare you, that you daydream about doing but wonder if you can actually do, like, that's exactly where you're supposed to take your next right step. That's exactly in thinking about what it is that you want to invest your time and effort in pursuing. So because I'm wanting to give you guys some next right steps and some things to do beyond this chat, I love giving you some writing prompts. And so for this idea, in terms of holding back and hiding out, I want you to just grab a pen and think about, in terms of, say, 1 to 100%, like what power do you feel like you're operating? 1 to 100%, where are you right now? And then I want what your life would be like, how different it would power, full time, full you. I don't know what that looks like. You're the only person that can really answer that question. But just to the best of your ability, what do you think your life would look like at full power? What would look different? And just sit with that for a little bit. It's a great place to start as a next right step. Just write. Just stay with those questions, okay? All right, so let's go on to how you can recognize like where this is going on in your life. I suspect that if you're still listening, that you might start to notice. You might have things kind of going off in your body, or knowing that this is resonating with you, and where this might come up. But for those of you that would like a little bit more clarity in terms of things you can look for, these are possible indicators that if you're experiencing these things, you may well be holding back. So you might feel like you're going through the motions in your day-to-day life. One person described it as living for the weekend. You act differently than you feel. So the people around you may think, oh, she's great, everything's good, she's doing so well, everything's great on Facebook. And yet the way that you feel is very different than how you were acting. You're doing things that aren't aligned with what you value. For years, I made my living in advertising and marketing, and I would be building campaigns and slogans and writing and things for companies that were promoting things that weren't aligned with my own values. It became like somebody else's game that I was trying to win. And even when I won, it was hollow because it wasn't what I was here to do. Just because you're doing. So when you're doing things that aren't aligned with your values, that can be a good indicator. If you're doing things just for the money, or because you're supposed to, because somebody else expects you to. Okay, Isabel, you're saying the sound is going in and out a little. Okay, thank you for letting me know, dear. I'll try to hopefully not hit my mic. Maybe that'll help. Okay, and so another indicator might be that you've got ideas that you don't talk about, that you don't share with other people, because your clever brain has convinced you that there's something scary or wrong about doing so. So you keep these ideas to yourself. But you only talk about them. You don't actually take action to explore them further. And another indicator that you might be holding back is that you try to please people that you really don't like. You end up staying very busy doing things, playing other people's games, trying to win with them. And it's just a distraction. It's not really something that is meaningful or satisfying to you. And another kind of just general experience that you may be having on a day-to-day basis is that you might feel grumpy, irritable, depressed, resentful. These are all kinds of things that can show up in our mood when we're not being our full self, when we're not pursuing things that really matter to us. Carrie, you're asking, why is that? Dear, can you clarify for me which parts of the why is that? I would love to take a stab at answering that question. This is such a human thing. It really is. And I've seen it in my own life so much. I spent years of my life holding back, hiding out, so convinced that I needed to prepare more to do. I just thought that was part of life, that you just have to go and you have to do your job, and there are concessions that need to be made, that is just an adult and responsible thing. So Carrie's asking, thank you, dear. Why do we try to please people that we don't even like? I know, right? God, so many of us do this. Spent so much time. I think there's a lot of different answers for that. I think part of it that we need to just give ourselves a break is that there's something very primal about that, and I'm hardly a scientist, but I think there's something in our DNA, in our history, in our biology that also contributes to this pretty strongly. Where we are human creatures that thrive on connection. We are about tribes and being part of something. Acceptance is equated with safety, and so we're going against our instincts sometimes when we start to show who we really are. That's why it takes so much courage. It's kind of a default setting, if you will, for us to want to please the people around us. And I think it's even more so for women. It's like we're, hardwired and socialized to do this. So it's an act of courage for you to really start to speak up and say what's true for you and what it is that you really want to do. And unfortunately, sometimes when we start sharing this and we're sharing it with people who don't support it or don't get it or fear it themselves, their response can be discouraging, and they will try and talk us out of it, or they'll try and point out how many things could go wrong, or they'll ask, well, how will you do that? And what about this? And they go way into the tactical practical too early. And then, we can start kind of backtracking and thinking, oh, well, they're right. Oh, well, they're looking out. Oh, well, I don't want to, uh, cause any like ripples. It gets to be a mess, right? So one of the things that I want you to do in terms of next right steps when it comes to, kind of thinking about how this might be showing up in your life and where you might be holding back or hiding who you really are. I want you to just spend some time with yourself. I want you to make a date with yourself. Put it on the calendar. I would encourage you to maybe go to a wonderful coffee shop or a beautiful space outdoors that you love, but someplace that you will easily and realistically go. I want it to be something that's not so complicated that it would get in the way of you actually doing it, because watch for clever brain getting in there and making it complicated when it doesn't have to be. But if you have this date with yourself, bring a notebook, bring a sketch pad, and I want you to relate to whatever it is that you have to give. Your creativity. Let's call it that for now. I want you to relate to your creativity as if it is someone that you love, that you are having a wonderful conversation with, and a very honest and intimate conversation. And I want you to ask your creativity what it is that it wants of you. I know that may sound a little weird, but I promise, and you would get the answers that you will find. The answers are not with give you the answers, and I cannot give you the answers. And I implore you to be wary of anyone else that says that they can give you the answers, because your answers are inside of you. So by taking some time to dedicate a space and an energy and an intention and your attention to really listening for what that is, that will give you a thread. That will give you something to start to, kind of play around with. Because oftentimes the way I describe it to clients is like we're looking for the pieces of this puzzle in terms of your purpose or how you want to contribute or what that's going to look like. We don't know that right now, but what we can do is start to look for clues and start to feel for these little pieces of the puzzle that then we're going to start to play around with and move and see how they fit together. Okay? But to create a welcoming environment for you to do that with yourself, set aside the time and create the space. And this is a great generosity, not only to you, but to all of the people who will benefit from you sharing your talents and your creativity with the world. So take that as a next right step to start to kind of tease out these ideas a bit more, or what it might look like for you to take a next right step into action. Again, your clever brain is going to fight you every step of the way with this, and that's okay. Just don't listen. Promise you, my clever brain is loud and on its own. wanting to read in a crowded place. You kind of have to just tune it out. It's the same thing. Tune it out so that you can hear for what it is that you want to bring into the world. All right. So when we're talking about this whole holding back, hiding out stuff, the way that I think of it, the way that I describe it is that the net result of doing so is that we dim our light. If you've been following along, you might have heard me talk about this belief that I have that at our best as human beings, that we can be sources of light in the world in terms of our purpose for being here, being with each other, that we can bring our own flavor of light. We're all different light sources. And so when we are holding back, when we're hiding out, when we're downplaying our brilliance, when we're diminishing our talents, we are in effect dimming our light. And what happens is that we aren't able to bring that to other people. Other people don't get to receive the benefit of that. And it's so sad. It's really, really sad because, when you think about your heroes, when you think about the people that have inspired you the most, that have that you're not crazy or you're not a weirdo, that you're just a human being who has a heart and that you want to give and you want to do these things, you have these people in your life that remind you of that. If you just think about what if they had dimmed their own light? What if they hadn't had the courage? What if they hadn't just started and done the next right step and shown up a bit of a mess and with the technical glitches and, all of this stuff? You are that person for other people. You are that person for more than just a few people. You are that person for countless people if you are willing to show up and if you are willing to be there for them. And if you're listening to this, if you're the person who wants to hold back and hide out because you don't want to hurt other people or you don't want to appear as being, arrogant or insensitive or I feel convinced that you are someone who wants to contribute and be generous. And one of the best ways that you can do that is to commit to going full power, to actually shining bright, to showing up and being yourself, because in doing that, you are giving other people permission to be themselves. That is one of the most rewarding and amazing things that I've experienced in this whole adventure. Again, the fact that you're even here, the fact that there are thousands of people all over the world that use progress maps that, I helped coach and that I work with now as clients. It's amazing. And it's not that I did something terribly unusual or special, because I assure you I did. It's just that, and that's enough. Just to take that next right step. That is the whole premise of Map Your Progress, is breaking down the big, beautiful thing that we want, what we're here to do. That once we have reached it, that we're, in full color, full power. You take that big, beautiful, and you break it down into just one next right step, one little swirl, one thing that you can do. If it feels too big, it's not your next right step. And any next right step is enough. You just take it one at a time. You don't need to know. You can't know. You can't know the how. But your willingness to show up, your willingness to be a little bit braver really is the difference. So that is my wish for you. I mean, I want your life to be about potency. I want it to be something that you really love, and that you're happy it's Wednesday because you're doing things that you enjoy doing and you feel alive and aligned and yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I'm supposed to be with. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing on the planet. Not because it's somebody else's idea of what you should be, but because you know in every cell of your being that this is what you were meant to do. That is my wish for you. So as far as next right steps, normally I don't do this and draw such a direct line, but in this case I will. There's a thing that I've been giving people. It's called a spark session. It's not so much a coaching session as it is a sacred space that you get to say what's true and get to be deeply listened to. And it's something that I have offered to the tribe up until this point as a gift, and that will continue through the end of the year. Of course, we have like 3 days left at the end of the year. And then in January, it's going to become part of a progress plan, which is something that I am launching then. And my wish for you is that you would be willing to apply for a spark session with me, and to tell me more about you and what it is that you think that you're here to do, or just that you have that desire and you want to know more. Because in that 2 hours, you and I can really get clear on what kind of light it is that you're here to bring in the world, what that would look like if you were at full power, full time, shining bright, the details of what that picture would look like in your life. Those are the kinds of things that we discover in that session. And it is one of my favorite things to give. So I'm going to make an exception and invite you to do that and to apply. And if you go to mapyourprogress.com/spark, then you can get more details. You'll see the link where you can apply and share more with me about you. I am already booked out through, I think, the first week or two of January, something like that. So we would do this in January, but you can apply, and you need to apply before the end of the year. So I, as always, wish that I could be just with you and have, one-on-one conversation, because I have so many questions for you and I want to know about the details, and would love for you to, be able to get really clear on where this might be happening in your life, and what's at risk if you continue to do that, if you continue to hold back, if you continue to hide out. Everybody loses, unfortunately. I know that sounds kind of dramatic, but it's true. It's like I'm sure that you're giving to already a significant extent in your life, but there's like so much more. And that's the more is the part that is magical. And that is my wish for you. That's my wish for everyone that comes in contact with you. All right, my dears. Please, if you have any questions about this, anything else that's coming up, I would love to answer them. In the meantime, I'm just going to remind you that tomorrow we are having part 4 of this series, and I'll be back at 3 p.m. Pacific. We'll be talking about really making a difference in the world, and this kind of expands on what we've been talking about in terms of what kind of light you would want to bring. But I think that's a really human thing, that we have a real desire to make a contribution, to leave some sort of legacy, to have mattered from having been here. And that is the tomorrow. So Ariane, oh, thank you. So needed this today. You are so welcome, my dear. I'm so glad that you were here with me. Thank you. And I just think it's a miracle. I mean, it's a miracle that we can have these conversations, and that I can just be here with you. And so I love that. I love how much we're able to be connected. So anyhow, I will be back here tomorrow at 3. We'll be talking about how you would make a difference in the world. And that's it. In the meantime, I will I will see if I can get some of these glitchy things smoothed out. But thanks for being with me. Thanks for the patience, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, dears.